This is the Power Cat Domino. She is 65 feet long, or 20 meters. We've just spent the whole day checking her out. Pretty impressive boat.
We're taking off from Mexico tomorrow. We're going to fly down to Tucson and take a 6-hour bus down to a small town called Guaymas.
I'm excited to go look at a giant catamaran named
Cassidy?
Cassidy 2?
No.
The new Cassidy?
No, yeah, named Domino.
We spent the summer cruising on our Nordhavn 40, and it's an incredibly comfortable boat. I'd say for the most part, it met all of our needs, and then we made the mistake of checking out somebody's Nordhavn 47. It was a pretty tough decision, I'd say, to put the Nordhavn 40 on the market. It was our home for the past
6 months.
6 months, 8 months. Did some pretty cool cruising up to Alaska. Just took it down to Southern California. It was an amazing little home. As we thought about long term and having enough space as Cassidy grows older, really thinking of it as a home for us, we just thought maybe a little bigger would work out better for the long term.
The 40 is great. The efficiency of the boat is incredible. You know, we can run it so that we're burning less than 2 gallons an hour, and it's super easy to dock and maneuver. It's relatively inexpensive to keep in a marina compared to bigger boats. But if we are going to do this long term, and we're talking about doing this until Cassidy's in high school, you know, which is another 10 years, it would just be nice to have a little bit more space.
So that brings us to the eve of our big adventure down to Mexico.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, getting on a plane to Tucson, a 6-hour bus ride, and I have to admit, I'm not thrilled. I'm trying to keep an open mind.
Let's say we like this boat that's big, and my odds of Jen liking it, I think it's pretty low. So I think the odds of getting into this boat are pretty low. But if let's say that all of a sudden she falls in love with it and it ends up being a boat that we like, even then I think we would have to really start looking at the numbers and say, does it make sense financially? Can we afford to put this thing in a bigger slip? The owners that have cruised on it for the last 9 years, they said that they stayed out of marinas almost exclusively. They were in a marina about 1 week out of a year, typically.
Wow. We can think about it on our six-hour bus ride.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be shooting video along the way, and I got a cool new camera that we can walk around with, and maybe people won't know that we're talking to a camera. I don't know. Try to do more of like the video log style where people walk around with their cameras and you can see where we're going. I don't know.
Cass will be on the adventure. We'll bring her into some of the videos.
Yeah. So we're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow.
No, we're leaving at 6 in the morning.
Yeah,
we'll
so
probably get up around 5:30.
Yeah. So we're gonna get in a cab tomorrow morning, and then we go to the airport in Oakland, take a plane to Tucson, have a couple hours to wait, get to the bus terminal, and take a bus to Guaymas. And then the next morning we are going to meet the boat broker. She's going to give us a ride out to the boatyard, and we'll see the boat.
You know what she said to me when I woke her up? Put me in something comfy so I can just go right back to sleep.
We're going to Mexico. Cassidy's still asleep.
Our Rapid Rewards members and all of our customers aboard Southwest Flight 3049, service to Tucson. And thank Thank you so much for choosing Southwest Airlines. Welcome to Tucson.
We're at the Tucson airport. We booked this all really kind of last minute, and flights from San Francisco to Hermosillo, where we're trying to go to Guaymas. I don't know how you say it. Guaymas. We're trying to get to Guaymas. Flights were like $1,500 each, so we bought a ticket to Tucson. Now we're waiting for an Uber so we can get to the bus station.
Usted tiene que haber respetado su sucursal. Usted no me está respetando. Usted me vendió un boleto y tenía derecho a una maleta. Y no me lleva ni mi maleta y mucho menos no me lleva a mí.
Waiting for our bus in Tucson. We have a couple hours, so we're walking around and we're gonna find something to eat.
10 hours.
10 hours. That might be how long the bus is. We found out it's gonna be a little longer than we expected.
Yeah, the bus leaves Tucson at 2:30, and we don't get into Guaymas until, they said, 10 p.m. And from there we have to figure out a way to get to where we're staying, which is like another 40 minutes or something. So
Oh, seriously?
it's gonna be a late night.
Pulling away from the bus stop. So far it's been a pretty strange trip. We had to get out about an hour after we got on the bus. We went across the border. Everyone had to get out and open their bags. Then we traveled about 20 minutes to this bus stop. Had a 20-minute stop. Now we're back on the bus. The driver has told us that he can either drop us off and leave us to get our tourist cards, or we won't be able to get our tourist cards.
So I'm just walking over to meet Jen and Cass for breakfast. We're by the marina in San Carlos, and it's a beautiful day to go look at a boat. We took the bus down here last night, and we were worried they weren't going to stop for our tourist cards, so we have to fly home, and without the tourist cards can't fly home. But I got them right here, so we are all set. Oh, so that opens up into Super Cuz right there?
Found out how big this boat is. It's 65 feet. It's a behemoth.
65 feet.
¡Qué milagro!
Aquí andamos.
¿Qué haces por aquí?
Aquí tengo barco ahí.
A ver cuál.
Ahí la vida loca. Ahí está.
Ah,
Una Catamaran.
Esos son mis clientes, Dougal, Jennifer y Cassidy.
Buenos días.
Conejo.
Jimmy and Jorge.
Ya viene Christmas. Ya viene tu Christmas, ya.
Sí,
Un conejito. Conejo.
Ah, she's big. It's hard to get the scale from photos. Yeah. Go stand underneath the holes, Cass. So go stand underneath that. Go stand underneath the middle part of the hall. That'll be cool. Oh my gosh, this is so much space. Stairs that you can just walk down. Oh, go down and check out this one. That one looks like it might have some more fun stuff in it.
Oh yeah, this
Fishing rods.
This is the side that has your dad's.
What do you see up in there? Hi, Cass. This is the ladder up to the flying bridge.
We are loving San Carlos though. Yesterday was adventure day. We rented a buggy and cruised all around.
You want to put it started, push the brake. The other way it's not going to start. It's like a safety thing for the kids. Now you start on it. No traction. Okay. Hang high.
Just rented this thing and we were stopping for lunch. Looks pretty good. Cassidy's scared. This is her first time riding in the front seat of any kind of vehicle.
Isn't it awesome up there, Cass?
I've been in the front seat of Uncle Damon's.
Oh, that's right.
right. It can't be worse than the front seat of
It's
Uncle
way safer
Damon's.
than Uncle Damon's shady bus.
adventure day too. We went fishing this morning. Didn't catch much, but the guys on the boat made some ceviche and it was pretty awesome.
Here, I'm right. You excited to go fishing, Cass?
What is it? Daddy caught one. Uh-oh, 2 on. I don't think we can go in it. Too bad we don't have a kayak.
Good enough. Super good.
Bonito ceviche.
Yeah, so now we're going down to a little beach club so Cassidy can swim. It should be pretty cool. It's really nice and warm.
I would definitely come back here.
We're gonna come back in a boat someday probably. Never been here before, but it's a surprisingly cool little town. There's 2 marinas. Both of the marinas that we saw look really nice. What else?
Lots of gringos.
Lots of gringos. Lots of old salty gringos. Looks like a lot of people come down here to retire. So, what's a gringo? Gringo is an American expatriate in Mexico. In case you're watching this somewhere else, it's kind of a weird slang word. That's all.
Approaching Club de Playa.
We've been down in San Carlos, Mexico for about 4 days. We came down here to look at this boat. Spent all day, the first day we were here, out in the boatyard in Guaymas. A bunch of motorcycles just went by, so it's probably not going to sound too good. Oh, buggies. There's all kinds of buggies and stuff down here. It's kind of a desert town. But the first day that we were here in the boatyard out in Guaymas, where a bunch of people leave boats there on the hard, either for hurricane season or just to do work. It's a relatively cheap place to park a boat, apparently. So this giant catamaran that we went to look at was parked there. Jen didn't even know how big it was until we got there. For some reason, she overlooked it in the specs. It says 20 meters, but 20 meters is 65 feet. So it's a behemoth of a boat. When we walked up to it, it was like, wow, this thing is just huge, and especially compared to all the other boats in the yard. A bunch of sailing catamarans, and sailing catamarans, even the 40-foot ones, were just dwarfed by this thing. So that was my first impression, was just overall this monstrous size. That's something that doesn't convey very well in the photos, right? The
Yeah,
images.
definitely overwhelming size. We have a couple pictures of Cassidy standing under it. You can get a sense of how massive this thing is.
Yeah, we took one photo of her by the propeller, and the prop's almost as big as she is. Underneath the tunnel, underneath the main deck too, is just really, really big. The thing that kind of drew me to this boat is its performance specs, and it's because of those long hulls that it's able to cross oceans at an average speed of 10 knots, which is just really incredible, and it has a maximum speed of over 20 knots, so you can outrun hurricanes and make changes to your course depending on weather and things like that. Something that we'd never really considered before, and ocean crossing power boats, and I had just become aware of this boat this summer when we were up cruising in Alaska. One of the guys we were cruising with was kind of aware of the boat, so I started reading their blog, and then it just happened that the couple that owns it is done cruising, and they decided to leave it here in Mexico, which is relatively close to home. So it just seemed like kind of a good opportunity to come down here and at least take a look at it, and at least give us some kind of other data point, since we've been almost 100% focused on the full displacement passage-making Nordhavns. Jen's not saying much. She had a lot of hesitancy from the get-go about the boat. It's very small inside for a 65-foot boat. If you look at, most 65-foot boats would have 4 staterooms and 4 heads. This one has 1 stateroom and 1 head, and it was built that way just because it keeps it very simple to maintain, light. On a catamaran, weight is a definite negative, and so this boat was built to be super light, and so they kept it to a bare minimum for just a couple to cruise the world on with occasional guests, which was what their goal was, and they achieved that goal perfectly. They achieved that goal. For us, it was clear before we came down here that we'd have to make some modifications to it, especially the port hull is the only guest accommodations they have right now, and it's really not set up as a stateroom. It's more of a kind of a couple of bunks where it would be fine for somebody to crash for a couple of weeks at a time maybe, but not for somebody to have a full-time stateroom there.
Yeah, that was one of the main reasons that we wanted to move up from our Nordhavn 40 is to have a better space for Cassidy, thinking about long-term and days when she becomes a teenager and needs a door to slam, a bigger space. That was one of the draws to moving up for me. Probably top priority is a boat with a second stateroom that's a good size, comfortable stateroom.
Yeah, I think the 1 head thing, all the other boats we've been looking at had at least another head, and so that kind of became something on our wish list, but I think that's something we could have worked around, or we could have put a day head in it or something like that. But I think space for Cassidy, just the refit that would be needed to make it a comfortable space and a real actual stateroom would be a little bit more of a project than we want to dig into right now. Cassidy's down here running around in the yard.
So I think by default, sort of, we assumed we would move up to another Nordhavn. Had our eyes set on the Nordhavn 47. We've seen a couple of them over the summer. It checked a lot of the boxes for us. But it's a lot of money to spend, so it's worth checking out what's out there. So it's Mexico. I mean, you can't really go wrong. A few days on the beach. So it was fun checking out another boat. For me, I think I'm spoiled by the Nordhavn's finishes, and everything's just really nicely done. It feels like home. It's everything's so well laid out and well thought out, and it's sort of designed to be comfortable, homey space.
For us, at least for our mission and our lifestyle, it seems like for right now, the downsides of the boat are kind of too much to get over versus the positive aspects, the performance characteristics. And yeah, like Jen was saying, the fit and finish on the Nordhavns is amazing. I mean, you step on one of these boats and they don't move. They're so solid. All of the cabinetry, the joinery, everything is just really, really nice. And this boat, this Catamaran Domino, was built in a yard in Paraguay, and I read the owner's entire blog of the history of the build and how they were really hands-on, really focused people, and they did a great job building the boat, especially with the constraints they had of the yard in Paraguay. It sounded like they had a lot of hurdles they had to jump through, and issues of getting parts in through customs took 6 months for a lot of things just to get imported into the country, and you can't buy quality boat building supplies in Paraguay. Part of it, I think, though, is not the nature of the build itself. I think it's just catamarans in general have to be light, and so all of the hatches are built, instead of solid glass, they're built with foam core that's then laminated with glass and resin, and everything just kind of feels kind of light, and it feels light because it is light, but it's just different. It's different than what we're used to. We're used to kind of these bulletproof hatches and doors on the Nordhavn. You can slam them down and they don't break, and you don't worry about it. You can drop tools on the deck and you don't have to worry about much more than just a gel coat chip. So come on out, Cass. You can sit in between us. So I think Cassidy thought it was a really cool boat. I'd kind of describe it. Actually, the broker down here too, I have to give props to the broker, Marissa.
She's awesome. Spending the day with her was pretty fun. She's a cool lady, cool background, been cruising herself for a number of years.
Yeah.
She's been in San Carlos for 18
years, I think she said, yeah.
Yeah, welcome to San Carlos.
But yeah, props to Marissa. She just got the listing, so she couldn't show us the boat until after December 15th. I guess they had it listed with the broker in Hawaii when they were still cruising. So big shout out to Marissa. She seems like a great broker, and she spent the entire day with us when we got here, just really crawling through the boat and not rushing us through it at all. So what was your favorite part of the boat, Cass? You really kind of did a lot of inspections with me. You were jumping all over the place and crawling through hatches and stuff.
My favorite part was that it was like a jungle gym because there was like hatches everywhere. There was like a hatch like about this big that I could crawl through and go into like this like giant box of storage.
The boat is set up with a whole bunch of watertight vertical bulkheads in the hulls, and so there's up high in each bulkhead there's a small hatch that you can crawl through, and the entire front part of the boat they left just open as basically a storage space. It's kind of big garages for toys, so that's kind of a neat thing too. But it means there's less living space. I think that one of the things that was good, at least for me, in the outcome of this trip, even though it looks like the boat's kind of a no-go, was that it opened up our eyes to just kind of looking at other options. We got really set on the Nordhavn 47 was the boat we were really focused on, and it seemed like that one ticks a lot of the boxes that we want. But now it just kind of seems like, well, let's just see what else is out there. None of these boats are cheap. It's a huge financial commitment to move up from the 40 that we have to any of the larger boats. So it just seems like it makes a lot of sense to do a little bit more due diligence as far as just making sure that we do find the perfect boat for the next boat. Options, there's a couple of boats in Florida that we're interested in, so we may be making a trip to Florida in the near future. If we do that, we'll record our journey. We're leaving tomorrow, we're flying home. We took the bus down here. It was a long journey, it wasn't too bad. We're flying home. Public bus just went past us. So we're flying home. I think we fly through Phoenix and then back to San Francisco. Thanks for coming along on our journey as we search for the next boat. Even though Domino isn't the right match for our current needs, I'm sold on the advantages of cruising Power Cats. Domino is the perfect boat for the mission for which her owners designed her, crossing oceans with speed and economy with a crew of 2 who want to spend extended time in remote locations. For more information about this unique Power Cat, take a look at the notes below where we've linked to the listing and to her owner's comprehensive blog detailing both building the boat and their many years of cruising. We are continuing to search for our next boat, and we recently created an Instagram account where we hope to share short blurbs and photos, so follow us there for more frequent updates.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time.